Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to go over the gear that I have decided to take this year on my second attempt of the Appalachian Trail through hike. Most of what I have is very similar or the same of what I took last year on my 2023 attempt. Probably the biggest change that I made was to my tent. That was for weight savings, and it's important to find the balance in what your pack weighs and also what you really need to be comfortable, safe on trail. Those are the most important things, but then also finding that balance and what's a good amount of weight for you to carry based on your needs and your size and so forth. So here we're going to go through what I am going to carry in my pack. I'm not going to include water and food nor my toiletry bag today, and those are consumables on the fuel canister for my stove. Those things, the weights of those change on a daily, sometimes an hourly basis, but I wanted to at least give you a sense of what are the monumental items and the things that are not going to change that I have chosen to take with me. When I am all said and done with going through each of the items, what I will do is pack my pack. I'll take a video of packing a pack where I put things, how everything will fit, and then we'll do a final base weight to see where I am, minus the food, water, fuel, and my toiletries. So let's get started. We're gonna start with the backpack, and I will link my Lighterpack in the description of this video, so if you want to go look at it and see all of the things that I have in my pack and what they weigh. I've kind of reweighed things a bunch of times to just make sure they're coming out. But the Mariposa, Gossamer Gear Mariposa, the same pack that I took, it's a 60 liter. This is the pack that I took last year. I'm not going to make it change. It was super comfortable, carried everything well, and I just love this pack. I do love this pack. It feels like it's part of me when I have it on. So the only additions that I've actually made to this pack is I do have a holder for my water bottle. I keep hand sanitizer right on the front, and then I keep a bandana, and that's for sweat and tears. So that's, other than that, the pack is pretty much the same as when I bought it. Just gonna kind of throw stuff down here as I'm done. So let's start with my sleeping quilt. Now, if you haven't watched my big 3 video, my granddaughter Thea helped me make that. She's helped me put my tent up a couple times now, so I'll link that in the description as well if you want more detail on my backpack, my tent, and my sleep system. So this is the Enlightened Equipment Revelation. It will keep me warm down to 10 degrees, and I have 850 down, and I do have the quilt. The difference between a quilt and a sleeping bag is a quilt just goes over the top of you instead of you sliding into it, and it's got the straps that will strap it to your sleeping pad and the snaps that will snap it up. I used this last year down into the lower 20s, and I was toasty warm. I do pair that with a sleep liner, and this is the Sea to Summit sleep liner. So kind of how this works is you put this inside your sleeping quilt, and then you get inside of this. And there was many nights, I'm a warm sleeper, many nights when I was super warm, when I don't use it as a quilt to climb or a sleep liner to climb into it, I do put it over my sleep pad, and it kind of acts doubly as a sheet. So it kind of serves 2 purposes. Put that over there. I have a very thin foam mat. I put this under my sleep pad in my tent just to protect my sleep pad from getting any type of punctures. If there's any little sticks or rocks that I have missed in setting up my tent, I usually try to clear the area. So I have that as well. And this weighs nothing, an ounce, I think, if that. And then my sleeping pad is the Nemo Tensor. I have the regular wide, so this is a rectangular shape. It is big, it's a little bit heavier. It is super important for you to get good sleep on the trail. It just depends on how good of a sleeper you are in the woods or not. Some people sleep better and don't need much. I chose this because I like the extra width on it. I'm a stomach sleeper, and I spread out and I toss and I turn, and this is also comfortable. The R value is good, so I was never able to feel the cold through the ground into my sleeping last year, down into the 20s. So that's the Nemo tensor, and this is also part of it in my big 3 video. Obviously it's not in my backpack, but we have my trekking poles. Little tip, keep some duct tape, any other things that you can wrap around there, on there, so you just have them. But I know they're not in my pack, but they are part of me out there on trail. The biggest upgrade that I made this year was I bought a used Durston X-Mid Pro 2. So this is not a freestanding tent, this is a trekking pole. I do use my trekking poles to set this up, and this saved me for my big Agnes close to, like, I believe 2.5 pounds or so that we saved upgrading to this tent. So that was a pretty big, it's the biggest change that I made. Included with my tent, I have a piece of Tyvek that has been cut to protect the floor of the tent so that it doesn't get a puncture in it. And then my tent stakes. And typically with my tent stakes, so when I had my other tent, I had the poles, so I just kept the stakes with the poles. But now that I don't have poles, I just have these stakes. I keep them in the top part of my backpack, so they're not in my backpack. I don't have to worry about them puncturing something. And I keep them in this bag. And I always have this little extra rag in case you need it for condensation, just to wash something off, wash your tent off or whatever. And I just take that tent stake sack and I just roll it up. And I just keep it all together, and then it's just in the top pouch, and then it's now it's cushioned a little bit. I had an extra Nemo switch back, and you'll see people with these pads. I had a couple of them, so I cut this one to fit. This is great, obviously, when you take a break. You can use it as a yoga mat. I like to put it next to my sleep pad in my tent, so when I'm getting in and out of my tent, on my knees, I'm kneeling on this and not on the ground. I'm in almost my mid-50s, so you know, this is a multi-purpose thing. And I did not bring it last year, and I kind of wished that I had it. So I just decided, I already have it. I've had it for years. I'm just gonna cut it, make it smaller. All right, how do I keep myself from getting sick of my water? I have the Sawyer squeeze filter, and then the 2-liter CNOC bag, and then I also carry a 1-liter Smart Water bottle and a 750 milliliter Smart Water bottle that I keep in the front. So it's my water filter system. I'm super happy with it. As far as keeping my food safe from the animals, I have the Z-Packs Dyneema food bag, my rucksack, my odor-proof bag that I keep all of my food in, this, and then I keep the trash in a Ziploc bag that I just throw away. This is my spork. My homemade cozy that I made when I heat up my food, to put it in there as it steams up, softens up. And then I don't cook my food in a pot, I cook it in a freezer bag. I boil the water, I pour it in a freezer bag, and I'll probably make a video on that. I don't want to have to clean food out of my pot, so that's why I just boil water, put it in the bag with the food, and then put it in here, and it cooks up, not a problem at all. So that's what I do. The only thing that I use this pot that gets dirty is hot chocolate coffee or hot tea. So this, I have the MSR for my stove. So this just screws on to your fuel canister, and then you light that, and then that goes on top, all in one. Just a little tip that I learned, because the fuel canisters are made out of metal, I take this and I put my fuel canister in that like that, and it fits right inside my pot, and then I fold it over to keep that fuel canister, because it's on the ground. It can be wet sometimes or damp, and then I keep it, and then I put all of my other stuff all inside of here. All right. My cork ball is to roll out your feet, roll out your calves, roll out, it's worth the, whatever it is, ounce, I think. This little Gossamer Gear Dyneema sack that I bought this year keeps my pump to blow up my mattress. You can also use it to start a fire. My Nightcore headlamp. And my earplugs. And I keep this little bag along with my cork ball in one of my hip pockets. And then when I get to camp, or if it starts getting dark, these little things are the things that tend to get lost. So I like to keep them in my hip pocket. They're not mixed in my bag with anything else. I don't have to search for them. If I know right where my pump is to blow up my air mattress, I don't have to dig through my backpack. If I need my headlamp, whether it's when I get to camp or I know right where it is, my earplugs, because you will hear snoring, and even being in your own tent, you'll hear snoring from other people's tents. And so those are just a handful of things that I just keep in a hip pocket, so I always know right where they're at. And then we're gonna go on to my electronics. I also did get a little bit of a bigger Dyneema bag for my electronics, and I carry two 10,000 amp Nightcore power banks. These are just the charging cords for my Zoleo and for Nightcore. Since my headlamp and my power banks are the same, I just need to take one cord, and then I have a phone cord and a triple block so that I can charge 3 things at once. I just keep regular old-fashioned earbuds, and those go in my actually in my Fanny Pack. And then there's my Zoleo Satellite SOS. As far as for the bathroom hygiene, I have my trowel to dig a cat hole, my Kahlua cloth, pee rag, whatever you want to call it. You know, lots of funny names for it. I have that, and then paired with this also, I will have wipes and toilet paper that I'll kind of carry. I don't quite have it packaged up for trail yet. All right. And the final few things that I have is my rain jacket. It's just a cheap, inexpensive Columbia one that I've had forever. I wore it last year on trail. It worked fine. So I'm going to take it again on trail. These are just a cheap pair of knockoff rain pants that I bought on Amazon. I do have rain mitts. I didn't need to wear these last year, but I will take these because keeping your hands warm and dry is just super important. And they're just from REI rain mitts, and they're made out of Gore-Tex. The ounce or 2 that these weigh is worth it if you do need them. Another just, inexpensive pair of fleece gloves. These are a little bit heavier than some of your little cheap, $1.25 ones that you find. I got them a little bit heavier just because I know I'll be using them in the mountains. And I got those off of Amazon because I live in Florida, so you can't find these. The fleece that I wore last year is in my last year's gear video. Fleece / buff, dual-sided. One of my favorite pieces of gear. And I can wear, if I need more warmth around my ears, I can wear the fleece part on the top. If my neck is cold because of the breeze or whatever, I can wear that part around my neck. I can also use it as a buff to keep my hair back. So this is just a great piece of gear. I like it because it's super long. I've worn it even sleeping, and I can just pull it right up to my forehead, and it keeps my chin and everything, and just allows me to breathe. So this is a great piece of gear here. I think I probably talked too much. I give this buff a lot of airtime. And then I have a pack cover. I do have a pack cover. My pack is not water resistant or made out of anything special. I've never had any problems with it soaking when I have the pack cover. So I do have a pack cover, and I just opted to I'm just gonna go orange. I'm just gonna go orange, and then I have it whenever there is hunters out at any time of the year. And then just a lightweight cap to keep the sun, and it also keeps, when you're wearing your raincoat, keeps the visor top out, because I don't have an expensive raincoat. I just have a cheap one, so it does flop around, so that I put this on, and then the hat fixes that problem. Let's see, for camp shoes this year, last year I took some knockoff Crocs. The downside of the knockoff Crocs is there's not really any tread on them. I don't even know if there is on the real Crocs, but then I know the real Crocs are heavy. But the downside with the knockoff Crocs are that when they get wet or the ground is wet, they're slippery. They are slippery. So I bought these Zero sandals on clearance for like $20. I love these, and they have treads on the bottom similar to your trail runners, and I can wear them with socks or I can wear them with barefoot, you know, wear them barefoot. And then I also figured for water crossings, these are gonna be great too. So I'm gonna try these and see how I like them. I have a pair of just barefoot shoes also, so I'm not sure if I might go with the barefoot shoes just because the toes covered until it warms up, and then have Joe send me these. We'll just kind of, I'll make that decision. I got a little bit of time, not much, but a little bit of time. At this point right now, my same sleep clothes last year, just a pair of like, you know, loose leggings, or not tight leggings to sleep in, and then a long sleeve shirt, and then a tank top in case it gets warm, and I keep a pair of wool socks and an extra pair of toe socks and compression sleeves. I've never been a compression kind of girl, but I'll tell you what, this is money right here. I wear them at home too. I have my same alpaca hoodie that I wore last year. I love this. So I know you've probably seen me wearing this in my videos. I love it. It's breathable. If it gets damp from drizzle, it dries super fast. It keeps me warm, but then also doesn't overheat me. It's just, I've been very, very happy with it. They're not cheap if you get a good one, but I got mine from the Appalachian Gear Company, I believe. Yeah, they're not cheap, but it's lasted, and I've had this now for over a year. I've never washed it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't need to. So I haven't washed it. And then my puffy, which is just a synthetic material, and I actually got this puffy from Decathlon and paid $60 for it, and I've worn it on many, many hiking trips in many different types of weather, and I've been super happy with it, and it's held up really well. So you don't need to necessarily go and spend $200 or $300 on a down jacket. Decathlon, I don't know if they still have them. I bought it a few years ago, but I've been totally happy with it. I've had no problems with this $60 down puffy that I have, and it keeps me warm. So the only things, like I said, that I am not including today is water and food, and the fuel canister that I use, because obviously the amount of fuel in there dictates the weight, and then my toiletry bag. I usually try to keep the toiletry / first aid / repair kit for like tent and mattress pad. I usually try to keep that at a pound or less for everything. And that includes my, you know, supplements, vitamins, medications, everything. So I try to keep that at a pound or less. I'm right at a pound right now, and I'm gonna pull a few things out of there. So those are the only things that you will not see, and food and first aid, hygiene, stuff like that, that's gonna be personal preference. It's be very different for everybody. So now that we've gone through everything that's gonna be in my pack, what I'm going to do is get everything that is not in its original sack or that is inflated and get it deflated, and kind of reorganize everything out. And then I'm gonna take a video and pack my pack. And if you're a new through hiker, just be patient with yourself, because when I first started, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna pack this. I don't know how I'm gonna find anything. And once you do it a few times, you will figure it out. You will learn how to do it, and you'll be able to do it really quickly. So I wanted to prove that to you by packing my pack in front of you and showing you how quickly, because now I know where everything goes so that I can find it. How do you pack all of this stuff in here? I'm gonna go through really quickly and show you. And like I said, don't be intimidated, because over time, and once you do this time and time again, you will get quick. You will know exactly how you like things. So I line my backpack with a compactor bag. They're very light, and this is just a double barrier to make sure that my most important things that cannot get wet, you know, that are life-saving things, stay dry in any weather. So inside that pack, the first thing is, this is my quilt along with my sleeping bag liner, the Cedar Summit. I just put it all in one stuff sack. And don't be afraid to stuff. You're not going to break anything, okay? Stuff that all the way into the bottom. The next thing that I put in there is my sleeping pad. And I stuff that next to it down in the bottom. Now normally I will have my sleep clothes and my socks sometimes in a little dry sack. This kind of keeps them together so they're not all flopping around. I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. It's just another thing. But it helps me from losing a sock or something somewhere. So you just want to take your like sleep clothes and that little foam mat, and I just stuff all of that down in there. And I stuff it all the way, just stuff it. Who cares? Your shirt's wrinkled, okay? Once I get it all nice down and stuffed in there, then I close up that and push that down. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. Get that. I also put my electronics bag, even though this is Dyneema, which typically is waterproof. I do not want my power banks, like my charger for my Zoleo, stuff like that, stuff that is important for me to be able to get help if I need help. I don't want anything like that to get wet or damaged. And then, because even though you're putting other stuff in your bag, you know, that's how other things can get wet. Okay? So push it all down there, try to fill all the little gaps and get it the way that you want it. A rule of thumb is you want your heaviest stuff in the middle of your bag. Once I have my food bag and my hygiene bag, that typically is what I put right on top of my compactor bag. So even though I don't have all of that right now, I do have my food bag. So just to simulate the way that I would do it, is now I'm going to put my food and my toiletries on top of that. Okay, you want that weight in the center of your bag. All right? That's the bulk of everything. Some of these things you're not always going to have out of your pack, or you're going to put them in at night. So you're not packing the whole thing every night. But this tall pocket I have on the side, there's two things that go in here: my Tyvek, and then my 1 liter smart water bottle goes in there. Okay. On this side of the pack, I have two smaller pockets. On my bottom pocket, I put my pack cover. And then on top of that is what would be my toiletry bag when I had toilet paper and wipes, and my trowel. And that goes in the bottom, okay? On top of that, in the top pouch is my water stuff that I need. And I just stick that in there, and I have it in a little mesh bag. And what I do is I have a carabiner, and I hook this to any of the clips that are on my bag. And the reason why I do this is because I don't want my water, anything from my water filtration, to accidentally fall out of my bag. At least if it does for some odd reason whittle its way out, or I get hooked on a branch or something, this is what's going to be hanging off my pack. I'm either going to feel it right away, or, you know, best case scenario, I don't lose it. There's a couple things, you know, that like you want to be sure that you kind of maybe take a little bit of just an extra precaution to make sure they're safe. And this hip pocket is like kind of like my miscellaneous, depending on the time of the year. Right now I have a couple hand warmers in there, one or two like bug wipes. Even in the winter time you can get some flies and stuff. But that will change throughout the year. A bug net at certain times of the year. On this other pouch, this is the pocket, this is the one that I was talking about, where I keep my earplugs and my headlamp and my pump for my mattress, and I just keep that in the hip pocket. Some people keep snacks in their hip pocket. My arms are too short to reach back there and get it, so they're really worthless to me as far as that goes. But I keep that in there, and now I can always find my headlamp, my pump to pump up my mattress to sleep, my earplugs, and my cork ball. And it's right there, and because I go enough to get my headlamp at night, it reminds me to use that cork ball. It's great if you have it, but if you don't use it, it's worthless. Okay? This front mesh pouch that I have, rain gear. You always want to have your rain gear accessible. Not always for rain, but your raincoat is a windbreaker as well. So you can go from one side of a mountain to another, and the winds can pick up, and you can throw that on, and it'll keep your core warm. I keep my camp shoes in here. And then the last thing that I keep on there, depending whether I need it or not, is usually my alpaca. It kind of goes in and out of there through the day. I might start with this in the morning, comes off in the middle of the day, and then I have it easily accessible when it starts to get later in the afternoon, and it might get cold, and then I'm able to reach it. Obviously, if it's raining and it's chilly, I'm wearing it, but that's one of those things that's just in and out of your pack throughout the day. All right, my top, I have a little top zipper pocket. And I keep a couple things in there. So I keep my tent stakes, like I said, so I don't have to worry about them poking anything. My fleece gloves, my hat, and my neck gaiter, fleece buff, whatever, in case I need that. That's all right there. Easy to get. I still have to take my pack off, but at least it's right there. And I have space in there to put a few other things if I need to. All right? Your tent. Gonna go inside your pack unless it's really, really wet. Then you want to kind of hang it from the outside, or maybe take some, if you're wearing your rain gear, put it in the mesh pocket so you can dry it out. But my tent goes in next. And then the last thing that I put in is my puppy. And that is so as soon as I get to camp or I stop for lunch or whatever, it's right on the top of my pack so that I can grab it and I can put it on to keep my core warm. Some people keep it in this pouch in the front if they have one. I'm always concerned that maybe like if it starts drizzling or it's very humid, it'll get damp, and I like to try to keep that as dry as I can, but I also don't want it all the way down in the compactor bag because I'll never be able to get to it quickly when I need it. So it all fits in there. The only couple things that I have left right now are my Kahlua cloth, rag. You can just hook that from wherever you want. And then this, you guys can see. I just set this up. So this pad, I just have some elastic and pull cords that this just goes on the, right now I have this going on the front of my pack as opposed to on the top of my pack, just because I feel like, one, if I need to get in there, then I have to move that out of the way. Two, my pack cover, it fits really well with this in the front if it's raining. And then you'll just strap this down. And there you go. So there's everything that I need in this pack, minus my food and water and toiletry bag, all fits in there. And I still have room. You can see when I tighten this way down, this had plenty of room. So this will expand up or down depending on what I have in there. So right now I have a couple things that I'm on the fence about, whether I'm going to take in the beginning or not. I have them in a box to be shipped to me before I go into the Smokies if I so need them, and those are crampons. So if there's ice and snow, these are waterproof socks so that my feet don't get wet, but they also work on the reverse. Your feet don't get to breathe. So I tend not to bring these with me unless I know it's going to be really, really wet. So I will watch the weather to get a sense. If it's going to be really terrible when I start, I will take these things with me. Otherwise, I will just have Joe send them a week or two down the road before I go into the Smokies, and then an extra layer. And the reason why I don't take an extra layer is because the items such as my hiking pants and stuff are already insulated, and I never needed to wear anything under them last year down into the low 20s. And I, so unless I'm planning on hiking when it's that cold. But like I said, the weather's gonna dictate. I know it's been really cold so far this year, and if it is, then I will take these things and have these things, some or all of them. But the last thing that I have is my Fanny Pack. I love this Fanny Pack. I keep chapstick in it, so it's right there. It's big enough that I a lot of times have my entire lunch in this pocket. My wallet, any protection that I do carry. And so this is just really nice to have everything right in front of me. And then also when I get into town, I have something that I can walk around with and not have to carry my whole pack. So right now, I'm going to go get my luggage scale, and let's see where we're at with the pack, just having everything but food, water, fuel. Okay, so here we go. We're going to weigh the pack. Joe's going to hold it for me. Lift it up off the ground until you see the little button that says hold. It'll say hold. There we go. 17.52. Not too shabby. Okay, so remember, if there is any information that you want on what is in my pack, what I bought, and the information on that, I will have my gear listed below in the description. I'll also have the link to my Lighterpack in there that you'll be able to go and see what I'm carrying and how much it is. And it's kind of like a changing thing. So remember, if you go in there and you see 16.74 today, and I go and I reweigh things or pull some things out, you might see 16.58 if you go back and link to that later down the road, as I change things until I actually get on trail and have made those final decisions. I hope that this helps you make your final decisions on what you might take in your pack, whether you're going on a 2-night or 200-night backpacking trip, or even what you may not want to take or changes that you would make. So tell me down in the comments, have I made good choices? Do you like them? Is there something that I'm missing? Or is there something that you think, like, Julia, do you really need to have that on trail? But I hope this helped showing you that how this fits all in here. It looks a little intimidating when it spreads down, but it really gets down to going and using your gear, figuring out what you absolutely need, because that's what's going to be carrying. That's what you're going to be carrying up those mountains on your back, down the other side, day after day after day. So thank you again for watching. Like I said, the links for all of my gear will be in the description below, along with the video for my big 3. If you want to see that in a little bit more detail, go check it out. Go check out. Yeah, it's just cute as a button. And thank you so much for watching. Thanks. Have a great day.